Racist? Well, the Wildlife and Countryside Link, a charity group which includes the RSPCA, WWF and National Trust, says the British countryside is a racist colonial white space. MPs in an all-party parliamentary group were told that the countryside has been influenced by racist colonial legacies, created an environment some fear is dominated by white people.
So think about it. It sounds very woke, just like that. But the more you think about it, maybe you've had experience of something like that. Joining us now is anti-racism activist Iman Aiton, who thinks the countryside could be racist, and farmer...
What's up, YouTube? Today we are covering how feminists fully support the Nazis by giving you pretty much a live example of a feminist who is actively fully embracing chapters of history from the Nazis. So let's get into it.
Who thinks it's not. So we ought to hear from you first, I suppose, the idea that it's this colonial white space that's not welcoming to anyone of a different hue.
OK, well, firstly, I don't fully subscribe to that. I think it's safe to say this whole entire country is a colonial space, so that's not fully accurate. Let's just be fair on that. But I have to admit, this comes down to the fact that this whole entire country has been proven to be racist or have issues with racial prejudice. So the countryside is not exempt from that. And what people fail to realise is that in these particularly these spaces that are particularly dominated by white people, it can end up being it can feel quite exclusive. The reason why is because these individuals share the same culture, same values, which includes food, language, music, etiquette, manners, hobbies, etc. So when someone new comes along, that's different. They can end up standing out like a sore thumb. They can end up not potentially fitting in. And then they also have to contend with the racial prejudice that kind of lies within that area. So there's that interesting dynamic of not necessarily fitting in because you're different, and then also racial prejudice that we have in this country.
But I wonder if that feeding too much into it, in the sense, as a northerner.
What do you mean?
Well, because as a northerner,
yeah,
you know, someone new moves into the village,
yes,
or whatever, who's a southerner, for example, and it's very odd, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, but.
Exactly.
But I don't think that's any different to the. I can't imagine. I can't imagine anyone I know having an additional layer of prejudice, or you know, oh, it's a stranger in the village
that's where
because
you're wrong,
they're black.
Sir. We all have prejudice. Prejudice comes in many forms. Racial prejudice. We can have prejudice based off of.
Doesn't mean we have to have it, though.
No. It's actually a part of our brains. It's actually called social categorizing. It's a part of our brain. Basically, it just means that we simplify everything around us, and so we put things into boxes, which.
Madam, that is not the definition of racism or prejudice. Definition of racism is judging people based on skin color. Definition of prejudice is basically just judging people based on things that they can't help or their own life choices instead of their context of their character. Or, so I say prejudice is basically rejecting somebody because, like, hey, they're from this particular group of people. Yeah. That's what prejudice and racism is. It has nothing to do with legally owned properties. It has nothing to do with neurology or biology. But let's take a look, analyze what this woman's saying. She's saying that because this particular area, this countryside, or this town or whatever, has too many people of this particular skin color, then it's a problem and it needs to be corrected. We're talking about a woman who is advocating, a feminist woman who is claiming to be anti-racist, who is actively advocating to take away people's legally owned properties. Not because of anything that they did, but because of what they are, or because of what their ancestors did by mistake. Tell me, everybody, what chapter of world history does this remind us all of? What chapter of world history am I referring to, or what this woman, this feminist woman, has decided to fully give her support to? I'll give you all a hint. It starts with an H. That's right. That's what she's decided to give her support to.
Surely you
So it's
need...
actually a normal cognitive process of the brain. So when you talk about you don't know anyone that has extra layers, I do apologise, Anne, but we do have extra layers of prejudice. We have our own prejudice, and we have prejudice in other areas such as
the
race,
issue here,
gender, etc.
The real issue here is whether, because this is what came up at this all-party parliamentary committee, the issue is how lovely little villages that we think of as beautiful English villages, or, you know, Welsh, Irish, Scottish, anywhere, the quintessentially British sort of village life is... The idea is that it is so white, and historically so as well, that it's not welcoming to anyone of a different skin colour or whatever. Let's go to Gareth. I mean, where you live, for instance, do you believe that you are prejudiced towards white people or not welcoming to anyone else?
Do you know what? I've lived my life in the countryside and I've never come across racism, you know, and I've got a lot of friends of all ethnic backgrounds. Now, I'll give you an example. So a few years ago, in our beautiful little Welsh village called Llanfairfechan, and it's a fantastic, beautiful place, the local Nissa shop, or Spar as it was then, was taken over by Mr. Pasham, okay, an Indian guy. And he came in, and what a gentleman. And let me tell you, during COVID and during lockdown, that man was running around this village with packets for old people. And, you know, at Christmas, when I went in there, he would give me a box of Thatchers just to thank me for giving him his customer. He's a lovely guy. Now, one of the guys that works there had gone away for a couple of weeks. He's an Indian as well. And he went away for a couple of weeks and he came back. And this is what he told my wife the other day. He said he'd been to London. And when he came back to work in the shop, everybody came into the shop and asked him where he'd been, that they'd missed him. So it's poppycock that these people are trying to call the countryside racism. Anybody that wants to come and work and fit in will fit in. Anybody that wants to come in and think that we're racist or racism happens will have it in their mindset. So it is a choice, you know, for the individual, but the majority of people are welcoming. That's my perception of it.
Why laugh, Iman, at that?
Okay, so I appreciate your anecdotes about your shopkeeper and etc. I appreciate that story, but the reality is, with all due respect, firstly, you are not a black person, so you can't actually speak in terms of lived experiences. Let me...
Oh, hold on. Did I just hear what she said? She just said because, hey, you don't have this particular skin color means you cannot speak on this particular matter. By definition, that is racist. The definition of racist is judging people or treating people harshly based on skin color. She just did it in front of everybody. She literally did. Let's also break it down even further. How she just laughed it off like it was nothing. This one is making it perfectly clear that, hey, the message this woman is promoting is perfectly clear that, hey, since you were born within this particular group of people, since you were born in that particular group of people, that means you have some kind of inherent evil that you have to work on atoning for. Not because of anything that you did, by the way, but because of what you are, but because of what your ancestors did, and you should work on atoning for it by forking over your own personal property. Tell me, everybody, what chapter of world history does this sound like? What chapter of world history does this feminist, who is supposedly calling herself anti-racist, is actively giving her full support to. I'll give you all a hint. It starts with the letter H. The letter H, everybody. Yeah, that's what she's giving her full support to.
Actually speak on lived experiences of black people. So when you say there's no racism, well, that's from your perspective, with your lived experiences as a white man. What we can talk about is the many experiences of black and brown people that have actually moved into the countryside. The BBC actually did a whole really good article about a lovely man. His name was Jag Patel. He spoke about the fact that he moved into the countryside and just was so shocked at the amount of prejudice that he had to contend with. And this is why I speak about the lack of diversity, because what happens when you don't have many black and brown people in a particular area is that you end up leading with prejudicial views because you don't have a lived experience of a certain thing. So therefore you start assuming, which is prejudice.
Yeah,
and that makes
what
an
you're
area
doing,
quite hostile.
forgive me, but
And
what?
so this is why
no,
families,
let me get a word in.
I'm not actually referring to this gentleman.
No,
this
but I've
is why
got
families end up feeling as if they're dealing with abuse, more abuse than probably in metropolitan areas. And that is my point, sir. You don't have that lived experience. So consider other experiences of black and brown people. Please go ahead, Stephen. I do apologise. I just wanted to finish my point
I know, but you're not
before you interrupted
forgive me, but you're not going to get very far if you don't allow.
You interrupted me.
Yes, but that is
That's
my
his
job.
No,
yes, that is my job.
And my job is to make sure I say my piece. So we've both got a job today, Stephen.
Yeah, but the point is, what you did there is you brought up a case example of someone...
Just like this lovely gentleman.
But you dismiss his case example. Say, oh, this person had
called a debate.
had a racist experience.
But
his racist experience...
Stephen, what on earth are you talking about?
That his racist
I offered a retort to this lovely gentleman's story about the
experience
shopkeeper.
may well be in the minority, actually, of what is going on.
Just like this... Exactly. So exactly, I'm actually going to validate your point. It could be in the minority, just like this gentleman. He's actually talking as if he can speak on behalf of all of the countryside.
No, he's not.
Yes, he's actually talking as... He just said it categorically. Listen to the words.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. He just said that there is no racism in the countryside.
Let's give him a chance to speak.
He just said it.
Yeah, let's get
Stephen,
Gareth,
you
come
need
back
to listen.
You
need to listen.
Gareth, go on.
Gareth.
I really cannot believe what you've just said. You've got no idea who I am, what I do. And let me just tell you, yeah, I have been under the cosh because, you know what? I'm first language Welsh. But
you're not black. But I appreciate you.
Can I finish, please?
black.
Can you give me an opportunity?
Because we're talking about racism in terms of racism towards black people.
Listen, the Welsh language was oppressed for years and years and years. The Welsh language, when the children would go to school, they would put the Welsh knot around
colonialism will do that.
They would put a Welsh knot around their necks to stop them from speaking the Welsh language.
Colonialism.
We know what oppression is.
We're now getting there, Gareth. We're getting there now.
No. Listen to me.
We are. I know it hurts,
and
but
I'm
we are.
open-minded. I think you are closed. You are closed-minded, and you're looking for the negatives. And that's what
you made it clear you were very closed-minded, sir, because you led with sweeping statements.
That's what causes the problem and racism is when people speak like you and push that narrative.
What did I say that was racist, sir? What did I say that was racist, sir? Please make it clear. Gareth, what did I say that was racist? You just said that people like me are the ones that are racist. Please.
All right, man. You want to know what you said it was racist? You said that because he's not black, because he was born with this skin color, means he can't speak on matters like this. That's racism. And you're also not allowing him to speak either. You're not. And let's put our mindset on that. Not allowing one particular group of people to speak about a certain issue. I wonder, what actively committing the act of censorship by trying to speak over them and not allowing this one particular group of people to speak. What chapter of world history does that remind us all of? I'll give us all a hint. Starts with the letter H. Yeah. Feminists actively fully embrace the Nazis' ideologies. And here is actual proof of that, right here.
What
Let
is
him
it that
answer,
I said
let him
that was
answer.
racist?
I didn't
No?
say. I said you're pushing the narrative.
No, you didn't say that though, did you? You're now correcting yourself, Gareth. You didn't say that originally.
You're just picking.
Okay, never mind. You didn't say that originally, though, did you? You said that I was
you know
racist, and I
what?
gave you an opportunity to make that clear as to what it is that I said that was racist, and you have failed. So no problem. We can move on.
What opportunity did you give him? You didn't let the guy speak. How is that an opportunity? Like how?
This particular point.
Well, absolutely.
Okay, well, we'll leave it there. Imam
Towards
Aiton.
language and towards the people.
Sorry, Gareth, I can't hear you.
There is no racism.
I can't hear him. You just heard me, and I can't hear him. Please speak a bit louder for me, please.
No, we're
I
going
can't
to
hear you.
call a halt to this because this is getting out of order.
Okay,
Iman,
no
thank you
problem.
very much.
Thank you, Gareth.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate
And our
you.
apologies if you felt you didn't quite get enough of us say.
Of course not.
Another day, hopefully.
Another
Thank
day.
you very much.
Another time. Thanks, Anne.
Right. No, I did huffing and puffing in the background, but it's fun to. I tell you what we like to do on this channel is listen to other people and then try and absorb their
Okay,
points.
so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave now because I'm not going to let you speak on behalf of the whole entire channel
please
because I've been
do leave.
doing.
Please
Yeah,
do
I'm
leave.
going to.
Yeah.
Don't
No,
worry
do.
about that.
We won't
It's a
stop
shame
you.
that it couldn't have finished a bit more
Isn't
cordial.
it?
It is.
It didn't finish in a more civilized manner, madam, because you weren't willing to let it. You weren't willing to let the guy speak or say something that has a different opinion than yours. What chapter of American history does this remind us all of? What chapter? Or world history, mind you. I'll give you all a hint. Starts with the letter H. Yeah, starts with the letter H. Living proof here that the feminist movement, even people who are claiming to be anti-racist, fully support the Nazis and all their ideologies. This is not sexist. This is not racist. This is me pointing out history. That's all it is.